Hey there, it's V from Movies Hunter, and today we are taking a stroll down the spooky lane with a little film called The Mortuary Collection. Ravens End Mortuary, set in the delightful town of Ravens End in the 80s, where the only things scarier than the fashion are the secrets that hide behind the walls of the town's resident mortuary. Ooh. We meet a young, fearless paperboy who delivers news both in print and terror, as he stops near the mortuary and is met with a creepy old man staring at him. Little did he know that man, the notorious mortician Montgomery Dark, was just warming up for the creepy show he is about to put on. Later, we are treated to a farewell speech that will send shivers down your spine, as the mortician bid farewell to the town's latest addition to the graveyard. But the terror is far from over. Enter Sam, who after admiring the mortuary's job advertisement, decides to pay Montgomery a visit, hoping to join the team of the undead. When asked about her experience, Sam replies with a straight face, "I don't have any, but I'm a fast learner." And who wouldn't be with a boss like Montgomery Dark, who has a collection of stories so twisted it could give Stephen King a run for his money? As Sam checks out her potential workplace, she can't help but be fascinated by Montgomery's book. And when he reveals that they're actually his client's stories, Sam can't resist asking him to share a dark and twisted story. Let the games begin. Montgomery leans back in his chair, a sly grin spreading across his face as he agrees to share a tale of horror with Sam. Fine, he says with a dramatic flourish. "I will tell you the story of Emma Law, set in the year 1950. Emma, a sticky-fingered pickpocket, sneaks off to the bathroom during a party. She eagerly rifles through her latest victim's wallet, counting the spoils of her theft. But as she's about to make her escape, she hears a strange noise coming from the medicine cabinet. Because who wouldn't want to investigate a creepy noise in a dark, creepy bathroom? Emma, being the brave soul she is, uses a knife to pry open the cabinet. Of course, she ends up cutting herself in the process, and as she's busy cleaning the blood from her wound, the cabinet slams shut. Classic horror movie mistake number 1. Never investigate the creepy noise, but whatever. Emma, not one to be deterred, opens the cabinet again and is met with a sight that will haunt her forever. A tentacled monster lurks inside, sending her running for her life. But as she tries to escape, she drops a pocket watch and the creature bursts out, grabbing her and dragging her into the cabinet. And that, my dear, is how Emma met her untimely end. Her bones snap like twigs and the monster closed the cabinet, never to be seen again. Sam, who is not at all impressed by the story, protests, "That's it? That's your big scary story?" "Ah, but the true terror lies in the message," Montgomery says with a sly smile. "You see, I don't care if the story is true or not. What's important is the fear it inspires." As Sam wanders the rest of the house, she comes across this old photo of the previous morticians, where Montgomery is lurking in the background, and as she tries to peek into the boy's coffin, Montgomery stops her with a warning. "Some tales are better left untold," he says, "even if I find some stories unsettling to recount." Now Sam, not easily deterred, asks for another tale, and with a smirk, Montgomery agrees to spin another horror story. Montgomery chuckles darkly and begins to spin a tale from the swinging 60s about a college student named Jake. Now, Jake is not subscribed to Movies Hunter, and because of that, he is taken away by the movie's god. But also, subscribe now so that you won't be like Jake. Anyway, Jake is preaching to a group of gals about the joys of sexual liberation and how they should feel free to get down and dirty with whoever they want, as long as they wrap it up first. He passes out some condoms like their party favors and invites the ladies to a wild frat party that evening. But little do they know, Jake's got more than a few tricks up his sleeve. That night, Jake sets his sights on a fresh-faced freshman named Sandra. He regales her with tales of his supposed social work at the university and invites her to the bash. They hit it off, and before you can say key party, they're locked away in a room, getting down to business. But when Sandra requests a condom, Jake reluctantly obliges before discreetly slipping it off mid-act. The next morning, Jake wakes up to find Sandra gone, but with her number written on the mirror in lipstick. As if that's not creepy enough, Jake starts to notice some strange rashes on his lower abdomen. He rushes to the doctor for a diagnosis, only to find out that there's a freaking creature growing inside of him. In a fit of panic, he calls Sandra, begging her to meet him immediately. Just as he is about to bolt, he is accosted by his frat bros, throwing a wild celebration in his honor for bedding 67 women. But they quickly let him go when they see Jake's water breaks. Jake, bless his soul, shows up at Sandra's house to meet her parents. And what do you know? He is in for quite a delivery. Sandra's parents, who clearly have some serious witchy vibes going on, lay him down on a table, ready to help him give birth. Sandra, Miss Independence over here, comes downstairs and gets all fired up when she realizes Jake took his condom off. But Jake, in all his absurdity, reveals that he used to be overweight and that losing weight has made him a terrible person. Sandra, not having any of Jake's excuses, makes a quick phone call to another man, freeing herself for a hot date. And the real fun begins, because Jake, who's in a bit of a predicament, asks Sandra's parents how they plan on getting this baby out. Yeah. Sandra's mother, with a twinkle in her eye, reveals that it will come out the same way it got in. And just like that, Jake's stomach explodes and he is gone. But the real twist is Sandra's mother takes the monstrous baby upstairs and places it in a crib in a room full of other equally monstrous children. This is unfortunately just the tip of the iceberg, folks. Because finally, Sam, who is not easily impressed, wants something even better, and boy does Montgomery deliver. He takes her to the embalming room and shows her the dead body of a young woman who apparently has magnesium traces in her upper palate, a common occurrence in catatonic patients. Ah yes, says Montgomery, relishing in the opportunity to share another spine-chilling tale. The story of Wendell Owens and Carol Peters, a love story for the ages. Well, at least until Wendell couldn't take care of his catatonic wife anymore and asked a doctor for a little helping hand. Montgomery chuckles to himself before continuing. And what does the good doctor do? Gives him some painkillers and a sly suggestion. More than 2 pills and she would go to sleep and never wake up again. So anyway, Wendell dresses up Carol for a romantic dinner, gives her a little Arctic hair figurine as a gift, and the next thing you know, she's grabbing onto his arm, making a scene at the dinner table. And there's a figurine, just casually pierced into her skull. But what's a poor, overwhelmed husband to do? Cut her up into tiny little pieces and dump her in the ocean. But the elevator has to go and ruin everything. Blood is everywhere and Carol's ghost just won't let poor old Wendell go. What a nightmare. As Wendell tries to open the chest, the lift starts its descent and out pops Carol's lifeless body. And just when you thought it couldn't get any creepier, the body decides to place a ring on poor old Wendell's finger and buck her up for a kiss. The cops arrive in the scene, only to find Wendell in a tight embrace with his photo album, muttering his wedding vows to a body that's as cold as ice. But it's all good because some think that the story is predictable because people always end up paying for their mistakes. Montgomery, the master of horror, chimes in, declaring that there's no such thing as an unpunished crime. And with that, he takes the boy's coffin into the cremation room. Just as Montgomery is about to turn up the heat, Sam drops a bombshell. She is the one responsible for the boy's death. And instead of calling the cops, Montgomery allows her to take one last look at the body. So Sam begins to spill the beans on that fateful night when she was babysitting the boy while his parents were out of town. Suddenly, the news breaks that there's a riot happening at the asylum. The officer warns residents to lock their doors tight, but unsuspecting Sam takes out the trash only to miss the smashed window right by her door. As she comes back inside, she's face to the man, injured and bleeding. With a shaking hand, she reaches for this thing, but it slips from her grip as the man stumbles closer. In a desperate attempt to help, she tends to his wounds. Little did she know she was playing with fire. Just then, Sam gets a call from the boy's dear old mother, who drops the delightful news that a homicidal maniac has escaped from the asylum. Sam, being the smart cookie she is, realizes his madman could very well be the local serial killer. So what does she do? Grabs the guy's damaged hand and shoves it into a meat grinder. But this psycho just won't stay down. He yanks his hand out and goes on to attack, because why not? Next, as he stomps into the boy's room, but surprise surprise, the kid is not there. Sam, armed with a fire poker, takes a swing, but the psycho's got the upper hand. He strangles her, just begging for mercy, but merciful he is not, as he eventually lets her go. Sam, quick as a whip, shoves him down the stairs and drops the TV on his head for a good measure. The boy's parents come home, only to find out that the babysitter is actually a dead serial killer. And who is Sam, really? Why, it's none other than Charlotte Gibbons, the infamous Boogie Bay Tooth Fairy who escaped from the asylum. The boy's parents then find the child's body in the oven, because this story just gets better and better. Montgomery, our friendly neighborhood mortician, asks why Charlotte's come to see him, and she reveals that she's there to collect the boy's teeth as a trophy, because why not? She stabs Montgomery, not wanting anyone else to know her dirty little secrets, but Montgomery starts laughing because he's got a surprise of his own. He tells Charlotte she has been hired, because who doesn't love a good twist ending? Sam tries to make a run for it, but she finds herself back inside the house when she tries to leave through the front door. Montgomery reveals he was like Charlotte once, thinking he could avoid his punishment. But he was wrong when he stepped into that house, and he drops the bombshell that Charlotte would be shocked to know just how many of the library stories are hers. Some ghostly apparitions begin to rise from the pages of the book and decide to take out Charlotte. Little did they know she's a tough cookie, and they had to work to bring her down, but eventually they did succeed in killing her, or so they thought. Now Montgomery decides to stitch Charlotte back together and bring her back to life. He then takes a victory lap only to turn into dust. Charlotte wakes up, looks in the mirror, and she realizes she's now the new resident mortician. She then decides to share her story with the unsuspecting paperboy. The poor guy just wanted to deliver the news, but Charlotte was feeling chatty and decides to treat him to dinner. Next victim? Who knows? And that, my friends, is the story of the Mortuary Collection. Subscribe or I will hunt you. See you in the next hunt. I'm joking, of course.